Final Boss. The final boss is the last major challenge before the game ends. It usually represents the main villain or the greatest obstacle the player has been working towards since the beginning. These encounters are often larger, more dramatic, and more difficult than anything that came before. A memorable final boss gives players a satisfying conclusion by testing everything they have learned throughout the game.
Tutorial Boss. A tutorial boss appears near the beginning of a game to teach important mechanics. Instead of simply overwhelming the player, it introduces concepts like dodging, blocking, using abilities, or recognizing attack patterns. Some are easy enough to guarantee victory, while others are intentionally difficult to show that failure can also be part of learning. Either way, they prepare players for greater challenges ahead.
Mini-boss. Mini-bosses are stronger enemies placed between regular encounters and major bosses. They often guard key locations, protect valuable rewards, or mark the end of a level. Although they usually have fewer mechanics than a main boss, they still require more attention than ordinary enemies. Mini-bosses help maintain excitement by creating smaller moments of tension throughout the adventure. Secret Boss. Secret bosses are hidden encounters that many players never find during a normal playthrough. Unlocking them may require completing special tasks, exploring hidden areas, or meeting unusual conditions. They are often among the strongest enemies in the entire game. Defeating one usually rewards players with unique items, achievements, or simply the satisfaction of overcoming an optional challenge. Optional Boss. Optional bosses can be skipped without preventing players from finishing the main story. They exist for those who want additional challenges or extra rewards. Some offer powerful equipment, while others expand the game's lore by revealing new characters or hidden events. Their optional nature gives players more freedom to decide how much of the game they want to experience. Multi-phase boss. Multi-phase bosses change as the battle continues. After losing enough health, they may gain new attacks, transform into another form, or completely alter the arena. This keeps players from relying on a single strategy throughout the fight. Multi-phase encounters have become increasingly common because they make boss battles feel more dynamic and unpredictable. Puzzle Boss. Puzzle bosses are defeated by solving a specific mechanic rather than simply dealing damage. Players might need to activate switches, exploit a weakness, redirect attacks, or interact with the environment. Combat still plays a role, but observation is usually more important than raw strength. These fights reward careful thinking instead of fast reactions alone. Gimmick Boss. Gimmick bosses revolve around one unique gameplay idea that differs from the rest of the game. The battle may involve controlling special equipment, escaping hazards, or using an unusual mechanic only found in that encounter. While these fights are sometimes simpler than traditional battles, they stand out because they create memorable moments through variety rather than difficulty. Chase Boss. Chase bosses force players to survive while constantly moving instead of standing their ground. The enemy may pursue the player through collapsing buildings, speeding vehicles, or dangerous environments. Success depends on quick movement, awareness, and timing. These encounters create tension by making escape just as important as combat. Horde Boss. Horde bosses overwhelm players with large numbers of smaller enemies instead of relying on one powerful opponent. The challenge comes from managing space, controlling crowds, and avoiding becoming surrounded. In some encounters, players must clear waves of minions before the main boss becomes vulnerable. This type of fight tests endurance and battlefield awareness rather than focusing on a single target. Duel Boss. Duel bosses are designed as one-on-one battles against a skilled opponent. Both sides often have similar abilities, making the fight feel balanced and personal. Victory depends on reading attacks, reacting at the right moment, and staying patient. These encounters are often remembered because they feel less like defeating a boss and more like winning a duel,
against a worthy rival. Raid Boss. Raid bosses are massive enemies built for groups of players in online games. Each participant usually fills a different role, such as attacking, healing, or protecting teammates. Defeating the boss requires communication, coordination, and understanding complex mechanics. Raid bosses became a defining feature of multiplayer RPGs by turning boss battles into large-scale team challenges, where success depends on every player working together. Bullet Hell Boss. Bullet Hell bosses attack by filling the screen with enormous numbers of projectiles. Instead of blocking every attack, players weave through narrow gaps while maintaining focus under constant pressure. These encounters became especially popular in arcade shooters, where precision and concentration are essential. Success depends on navigating intricate projectile patterns, where precise movement is more important than dealing damage as quickly as possible. Time Limit Boss. Time limit bosses must be defeated before a countdown reaches 0. Players can't rely on slow and cautious strategies because every second matters. Some games combine boss battles with a visible countdown, while others use strict time limits to make major encounters feel more urgent. The timer adds pressure, making even familiar mechanics feel more intense. Giant Boss. Giant bosses are enormous enemies that tower over the player. Their size often changes how the battle works, requiring players to climb onto the creature, attack specific body parts, or use the environment creatively. These fights create a strong sense of scale that smaller enemies cannot match. These encounters show that defeating a giant isn't just about dealing more damage. It's about using the creature's size against it through positioning, weak points, or the environment.